Good everyone. Okay, good afternoon. I'm just giving you a second for everyone to join us. Okay, here we go. So welcome to our last session of the day. Yay, we made it. We have a full day tomorrow for you to join, so we're excited about that, but we are excited about this last session of the day. So thank you for joining this session. Just a couple of housekeeping things before we get started with our panel and presenters for today. So my name is Kirsten Bayer with the Illinois Center for Specialized Professional Support, and I am joined by my colleague, Amber Fornasari. Fornasari. I think I keep saying it wrong. I keep butchering her last name, so I apologize, everyone. And we will be your moderators and technical support for this session. So feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or technical difficulties, and we will help you troubleshoot those. Today's session is titled Career Pathways, an interactive tool. We are going to hear from a whole panel of wonderful presenters today, including Kelsey Tate, George Evans, Jacob Fraser, Julie Obermark, and Amy Trout. So hopefully I didn't butcher any of your last names either. And before we get started, I did want to reiterate that all of our attendees on this call or on this Zoom session are in listen only mode. So you can unmute yourselves, but we ask that you refrain from doing that until the end of the session. And then we will have time for a live Q&A session where you can ask the panel questions. And then if you have questions as the session proceeds, please post those in the chat and we'll get to those towards the end. I also wanted to put a plug in for our on-demand session. So hopefully you've been able to attend all the live sessions today, and you might be a little sick of staring at your computer now that we're virtual, right? Which is totally fine, but maybe tomorrow you'll have some downtime, or maybe next week, and you can check out our on-demand sessions by going to resources under the Whova tab, under the Whova page, and accessing the on-demand sessions there. And then if you're looking for a certificate of PD, please just make sure that your first and last name are accurate in the participant list on this Zoom meeting, because we will pull from this attendee list to send out those PD certificates, and everyone will be getting one of those in 2 weeks. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to our presenters for today, and we're going to start with the president, George Evans.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is George Evans, and I, for some reason, didn't recognize that we were presenting the last session for the day. So we will do our best to try and keep everybody motivated and engaged. And today's session, we're discussing our guided pathways, our in-house model as related to career and technical education, and just the roadmaps for our students and their futures, and how we came about this tool, which I think you'll find pretty interesting, and hopefully provide some use for you, and maybe create some push forward those creative juices on your end as well. Just as a couple of disclaimers here, this is a tool that we created in-house, that we didn't purchase, and we continue to improve this tool since its beginning a couple of years ago. And before I turn it over to my panel of experts in the room right next door to me, Julie Obermark, our Vice President of Instructional Services, Kelsey Tate. Kelsey, what's your official title? It's very fancy, but it's really long. Go ahead.
Career Pathways Coordinator.
Okay. And then Jacob Fraser, who is, in my mind, the Bill Gates and Steve Jobs of Illinois community colleges, and nobody can hire him ever. He's going to stay with us. As well as I know that Amy Trout may be on here later. She's traveling for the institution, so she may be chiming in from time to time. So what is the career pathways for us? Obviously, you guys have heard this term up and down. Anybody who's been related to career and technical education or workforce education obviously is pretty familiar with that very vague term when it comes to higher education. Previously, before I was in the president's seat, I was fortunate enough to serve as Dean in Career and Technical Education at the college. And one of our issues that I've noticed over and over again in my 5 years as dean was realistically, we were getting calls nonstop from the employers and industry throughout our area of needs for employment, constant needs for employment. George, I need welders. George, I need HVAC technicians. I need carpenters. I need automotive technicians. We need CNAs. Okay, well, we would connect them to what at that time was our internal workforce or external workforce application, the College Central Network. But in my mind, that was just basically connecting them, HR directors, to another software that may or not be utilized by somebody who's looking for a career. After internal analysis, we realized that nobody was necessarily who was looking for a job was going to the College Central Network to get a job. In turn, my thoughts were that I was wasting employers and HR directors' time by sending them to an application to fill out their needs under the premise that everybody was looking at that. That's not the case. So that leads us to where we're at here as an institution is we're very small. I shouldn't say very small at KC. We're a medium-sized institution, have several career and technical education programs, but a lot of those programs are one-man shops, one-man full-time faculty, one male or female full-time faculty members that oversee the program coordinator duties and teach the programs. They were really, in my mind, and still are, our workhorses when it comes to the connectivity to our business industry partners. And part of our process in developing this tool was to create some type of system to effectively communicate what's going on in those programs to our HR directors, but also as a roadmap for the future for students that are 7th and 8th grade, our non-traditional student who may be out of the workforce for a while, who are interested in looking or researching some type of career, and just trying to lay out a roadmap for them. So connecting all of those dots. And we kind of looked through some different software over the years, but it really didn't necessarily catch our eye other than the thoughts of us trying to create our own, which leads us to our panel here. This group started about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago in a room. And what we have here is actually a copy of the legal pad that our original notes for this guided pathways tool that Kelsey and Jake are going to show off here in a little bit. And what this was is basically, this was kind of our map, our idea that we put together. Amy, myself, Jake Frazier, and a couple, Pat Medford. I think Pat's on here as well. Hi, Pat. And a few other individuals who have moved on from the institution, kind of putting all of our processes together to try and draw a roadmap that can be utilized for the students, potential students, our employers, also in our staff and faculty. And that's kind of where we evolved with this guided pathways tool. We'll get to the IT portion in here in a little bit. But the ultimate goal for us was to really try and connect everybody together to at least steer them. Number one is we wanted to steer them to our website or through our mobile application, which is the KC Connect app. So if you're bored right now, you grab your iPhones and download the KC Connect app. It's very simple. And you can play around with this and show it off, or you can delete it as soon as we're done talking, or delete it while we're talking. But I think it'll be a little bit handier if you would be playing around with it while Kelsey gives her presentation. And we wanted a tool that individuals could necessarily navigate through, whether it's 11 o'clock at night, 5 o'clock in the morning, or something where we can give to our guidance counselors or to our workforce investment board partners, or just blast out there for anybody who is looking for a career, or somebody who is looking to advertise for vacant positions, and what is going to take for that individual, that potential employee, to become qualified to get a job in one of these various areas. So if you can go ahead and that's the original chicken scratch notes from a legal pad, I want to say in September of 19. You wouldn't mind advancing the next stage slide. It's slowly morphed into continued documentation. this was our original thought process, was to have guided pathways broken down for the 17 high schools in our districts, of the roadmaps for an individual student to their freshman year, if they wanted to get into industrial technology. This is the roadmap that you would need to take of the courses that were available at your high school, that you could take at KC and enter the workforce, or vice versa. Kelsey's going to get in the meat and potatoes. She does that a lot better than me. But this kind of is an evolution of how it started from a legal pad to an original Word document to a PDF document onto what we have up and running now. If you want to advance the next slide, please, is our KC Connect application, which is available on our website at kaskaskia.edu under career pathways, or under our KC Connect mobile application, where you can see the guided pathways. So that's really a high level introduction, and I'm gonna hand it off to Kelsey, who does a very good job. She's kind of like the Vanna White news broadcaster for all of us, who does an amazing job of telling the real story behind this and how it is so useful across the board, from high school students, from non-traditional individuals who are looking to return to college or earn some type of credential, research the background or research the employability of the jobs that they're interested in, but also a connectivity between our university partners and our HR partners and our business and industry partners, as far as shifting everybody back to one area to research and kind of understand the roadmap for their successes, or what they need to do to achieve success in those various careers. So I am going to switch now. So Kelsey, I'm going to turn it over to you, and Jake can navigate, and I'm going to come over in that room and sit with you guys and be quiet.
All right. So as George said, my name is Kelsey Tate, and I always kind of joke around. I just came back on with the college in January of this year. So after all the hard work was done, I just get to show it off. So I can't take any of the credit for everything that is actually done. So I'm going to go over to the tool just to show it off a little bit for you guys. All right. So just like you saw on the previous screen, there's 3 different locations where you can take advantage of the Career Pathways tool. We have it as a direct link off of our website, the kaskaskia.edu. Bigger, Jake. And then there's also the KC Connect app that George had spoke about, where there's a direct link to it through our Kaskaskia College application. And then the final place is a couple different places around campus and at some of our education centers. We have interactive kiosks for our students, and students are able to use it hands-on while they are standing there. So this is the opening page for our Career Pathways tool. You'll be able to see a lot of similarities, or where that vision came from that initial legal sheet. A lot of the same larger concepts are still there. They have just evolved over time for us. In this first drop-down menu, students are going to have a chance to choose any of our in-district high schools that we serve in the Kaskaskia College district, as well as you'll see there's an option for adult learners. So if someone isn't currently in high school or going through the high school system, there are options available for them as an adult learner. For the sake of this example, I'm going to use Centralia High School. That's one of the larger high schools in our district. They have a large variety of classes at the high school level, and it showcases a lot of the nice perks to our Career Pathways tool. The second drop-down menu are the 16 career clusters that are identified nationally. There's also an option for undecided, so there's not. That's still an area that we are developing, because there's not a lot of roadmaps or guidance on that undecided, because someone could really go any way So our focus so far in the first phase of career pathways has been to focus on these specific career clusters. So you'll see a wide variety of options for our students. For the sake of this example, I'm going to use health sciences. And then you'll see whenever we go to the KC programs, we have taken every degree or certificate that KC offers that falls under the health sciences career cluster and listed them out for our students. So you'll see a variety from nursing to our medical coding and billing to paramedicine. Anything that would fall under that career cluster is listed here for the students to select. And for this example, we're going to use our associate's degree in nursing program. So at this point, right now, our vision is for our high school students to really utilize this tool, but we're also wanting to try to get out into our junior highs to where our students who are in 7th, 8th grade are able to see opportunities where they can take advantage of some lower cost college options while they're in high school and alleviate or take off some of the time that they would have while they're in college taking courses. So after we go to getting our pathway, it automatically generates a form like you saw similar to the previous page for this specific high school. So this is targeted directly at our Centralia High School students who are wanting to go into the nursing degree. Excuse me, the top left-hand side is going to show any classes currently that Centralia High School offers as dual credit. KC has a great advantage to our in-district students. Our dual credit classes are 100% free for those students while they're taking it at the high school. So you'll note they can get, it looks like 4 classes. The English is listed twice just for the way we do dual credit registration. So disregard that second English.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
all we're seeing is the slideshow slide. We're not seeing your screen.
Oh, okay. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it.
So you,
Go to stop share. And then
Let's
Go.
see.
and then
We're
try-
gonna get. What about now? What do you see now?
Your
You're
website.
good. Yep, your website, you're good.
Thank
You're
you.
good
I
now.
appreciate it.
okay, so you may want to walk through.
Yeah, so we're gonna show you those steps all over again. I won't go into as much detail because I hope you listen to my voice. So this is where that list of high schools, our 17 in-district high schools, as well as the option for our adult learner, are all listed in this drop-down menu. So we're gonna choose Centralia High School. This drop-down is gonna show you, like we talked about, those 16 career clusters. And we're going to go to health sciences. And then it's going to automatically populate any of KC's, Kaskaskia College's, degrees or certificates that tie to health sciences. So let me get up to nursing. So now you'll see the magic. It does a whole different thing when you can actually see it.
Are you guys able to see the red boxes at the top and? the
Yes.
four- Okay, good.
Perfect. So up in this top left corner, like we were talking, this is the dual credit, those free classes for students to take while they're in high school. These are high school classes that they're taking that are equivalent to our college level classes. These are 100% free to our in-district students that meet the placement or any prereqs for these courses. So there's 4 different classes that they can take at Centralia High School that go towards our associate degree in nursing program. Next to that is our jumpstart program, and jumpstart through Kaskaskia College. It's an opportunity that we give all of our students who are in high school to take 1 course per semester for half price of tuition. So they aren't required to take the classes. It's just an extra money saving opportunity for them if they want to get a head start on their college career. So none of the classes in the red boxes are required for students to take while they're in high school, but it's just it's a pathway. It's a guidance on what they can take that's going to go towards nursing and be beneficial to their overall college degree. And sorry.
No, and as just as this is George again, and just as a caveat, obviously our degrees are the maps that we are utilizing to build this off of, but for the most part, what we have gathered through our community college sisters and university partners, 90% of our degrees and the roadmaps for our degrees are very similar to the other community colleges and universities in the state. So this can be utilized for those who may or may not be in our district that are looking to take courses at KC. You're going to have a pretty general roadmap for yourself at other institutions as well. Obviously, our prefixes might not match up, but a lot of the terms associated, a lot of the coursework associated with will be pretty similar. Sorry.
That's all right. So if a student were to take full advantage of their dual credit opportunities and take full advantage of any jumpstart opportunities that they have, they can save up to $3,900. That number in the top right corner is showing them by just taking advantage of some of these high school opportunities, what they can save in tuition and fees. So right off the bat, that's what they're seeing. This is what a student's seeing when they first get into that pathways. And then you want to know more. If I can save that much money, what else do I have to do to get my associate's degree in nursing? So this middle box, this blue box, is the whole nursing degree. Like George was saying, it's going to be similar to probably what's a nursing requirement at many of the community colleges. I will know or have you note that the classes that are up here in the red box are not taken out of this pathway because they aren't required to take them. So that is something that they would have to just, check those boxes if they did take advantage of the dual credit or the jumpstart. But just, at first glance, you can see a whole year is really completed before they even get into that nursing program. And for Kaskaskia, all of those general education classes would mean that the student could potentially get into nursing as a first semester freshman if they are coming straight out of high school. So this is really the exciting part as far as seeing what classes these students can take. This is really why we want to get into the 7th, 8th grade, especially freshmen, those younger ages, because so many classes that you pick starting into high school can really affect what you get to take later on in your high school years. So if you can see this or a parent can see this early on, it can really determine what path they even take through high school. So everything with the curriculum, that's awesome, that's great, but that's not where this tool stops for us. It's important to make sure that they are on the right path for their classes, that they're taking classes that benefit them. But what are you going to do with it after you have all of your classes done? And that's where these last 3 boxes really come into play. And they're just as important, I believe, as the information on what dual enrollment opportunities there are. The first box is the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is a mouthful. But this is just a direct link over to that website. Really exciting news for Kaskaskia is that we are partnering with MZ to be able to get this information, the labor information on a more regional level versus a national level. Some of you that are in smaller community colleges or in southern, closer to Southern Illinois, our incomes aren't the same as what you would see in Chicago. So we were able to purchase a tool that's going to help regionalize this information and be more specific to our region for our students to give them some realistic numbers on what they can expect job expectancy to be in our region, and really just see what is out there in relation to Centralia or our districts.
That's correct. This kind of gives for the goal here is for those that are obviously are going to invest into their degree or their higher education path, is to kind of give them a glimpse with the Bureau of Labor Statistics and MZ, which as I mentioned before, this is a growth process for us to really know what the job outlook is going to be now and the next 10 years as far as the employability. to recognize the return on their investment. If I'm going to spend $10,000, $11,000 on becoming a registered nurse, is there going to be a job there when I graduate? If there is, what kind of wages can I potentially make, not only on the national level, which is the Bureau of Labor Statistics, but also on a regional level, which we will be updating here within the next 6 months once we finish that analysis with EMSI. So it really kind of gives anybody who wants to plan ahead those ideas and a snapshot of the success and the return on investment they're going to have regionally and nationally if they were successful in this program.
So that's exciting. This box or this area of the tool is really exciting for potential students who maybe, if we go out to, a junior high or even a freshman class and do some career cruising or career interest surveys with them, to be able to tie it directly to what classes they can take at their community college and then where they can find jobs at. So that's really the point of this career pathways, is just to connect it, take away all the questions and make the process of going to college and getting your degree as seamless as possible. And then as everybody knows, then as everybody knows, whenever you complete your degree, whether it's a certificate or a degree at the community college, you either are going to go to the workforce or you're going to go on to a four-year university. So we don't want the road to stop at your degree completion with us. So this middle box titled Entering the Workforce is just that. Students are able to click on this box and automatically pull up all of the job openings that we have on our open jobs board through the college. You'll see, especially with nursing, it's no shock to anybody right now that medical field is looking for tons and tons of people. So those are all listed, as well as there's a map where they can see, compared to where they are now, what kind of distance those jobs are from them. So this is an ever evolving tool. As we get jobs for our jobs board, this list grows. When we put those jobs in, on the back end, we're able to tie it with a certain degree or certificate, so it'll automatically populate when students are in this tool. So if someone's wanting to go into the workforce, we have the place for them to look for those jobs. And we're always trying to evolve our relationships with our partners to keep this jobs boards up and current. And then finally, we have the students that want to go on to a 4-year. They're done with their bachelor or their associates, and they want to go on to a 4-year. And one thing we are really proud of here at Kaskaskia is our large number of articulation agreements with our 4-year partners. And we want to make those easy for our students to see as well. So I'm going to use McKendree, for example. If I finish my associates and I want to go to McKendree, it's going to take me directly to the page I need to go to see, I'm done with my nursing at KC, what do I need to do at McKendree? So it's taking, like I said, and I think I've said it a couple of times, taking that guessing game out of what do I do? What do I need to do next? If I want to go to work, what do I need to do? If I want to go to a college, what do I need to do? And that's really, I think, general what this tool does.
I'm just trying to get the chat to answer any questions that keep popping up. So we just noticed a bunch of chat just popped up, so we will definitely.
I think they're going to facilitate those at the end.
Okay, very good. All right, keep going.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
So that is the tool. That's the meat and potatoes of the tool. Let me get back to our PowerPoint here. Oh, sorry. This is why I'm not in IT. It's not my, there we go. So
Kelsey did a really good job on kind of identifying the overview of the tool that we utilize. And our original intention for this was we had this created, as I mentioned before, was a lot of this was our original focus was hand copies, paper to distribute to our area high schools for the guidance counselors to take a look at, just to kind of give them an additional roadmap for their students. But then it really became very problematic, obviously printer costs and just if one change should occur, then everything that we've just printed is wasted. So it was really with Jacob's help here through our IT department and who wrote the program himself, took our vision, put it to technology, which has allowed us to expand this thing in several different ways. So in essence, it's taking the guided pathways that we have recognized nationally. These are the same Perkins CTE pathways that have been identified nationally, and localizing it to meet the needs of KC, but also to our guidance counselors, to any individual who just really wants to research their careers within our district, as well as for mom and dad who want to help their student or the young one to identify the roadmap for them on, okay, I'm going to be a freshman next year. What courses do I need to take? Well, mom and dad, I want to be an industrial technician. Well, let's take a look at that. These are the courses that are available at your high school. But beyond that is these are also the additional opportunities and wages that you can make in that type of field. And in addition to that, if you just want to enter the workforce, these are the opportunities that are available for you right now through some of the partners that we have. We're going to continue to expand this as we continue to meet with our industry partners and guide them to the guided pathways to allow for them to post their available needs and workforce, their labor needs, but also as we continue and Julie and her team continue to expand upon our articulation agreements, it really is that roadmap for that individual to decide, okay, here's what I need to do. This is what I would like to do. Here's the courses that I would like to take. This is how much it's going to potentially cost me at Kaskaskia College. This is the opportunity. This is the type of funds that I can make. This is the wages. Or if I want to advance my degree after Kaskaskia College, here's our articulation partners beyond that. And here's all the list of the different schools that will accept us as a junior. But in addition to that, the next step is these are different employers that are hiring. So really kind of puts everything into a one-stop shop, which I know is a very cliched term, but it really serves a lot of good purposes here for instead of us getting a call, which we get calls weekly. I think everybody out there knows it is definitely an employee's market, from members of business and industry to the allied health side, even on the business side. We then now have the opportunity to connect them with Kelsey and the guided pathways tool to not only post their vacancies, but this also is shared with our faculty members, our individual program coordinators, who can begin those discussions with our current students in that coursework, as well as any job that's posted on there. If you are mom and dad that you have a graduating senior, or the student who is very aggressive and energetic takes a look at it. Oh my goodness, a job just opened up in my degree field. I may reach out to them, see if there's any apprenticeship or internship opportunities. You'll also see, if you're playing around with the app, if you scroll to the bottom of the front of the app page, you'll see all the different types of funding sources that we have available, very similar to all of you for the community college and university partners, from the Perkins grant, anybody who needs Perkins assistance, Title IV funding availability, but also most importantly is the Workforce Investment Act opportunities for those who are incumbent workers or a dislocated worker, to take advantage of those state funds for an individual who wants to better themselves, go back to college, but may not understand they have resources available to them to fund their degree or their coursework. We try to really make that the one-stop shop, because you can also, if you identified some type of degree that you want to get into, you can now I got to pay for it. That's the question next is, okay, these are the different options, and it will connect you straight to our financial aid department that can work with you on scholarship availability, can connect you with one of our 4 workforce investment board representatives, or through our foundation and our scholarship opportunities. There's multiple different ways to fund your education here as well that that somebody can search through this tool as identified. So I don't know if there's any more chats on there. Any questions? Can we bring up the chat?
I can give it a shot. Should we start at the top?
And Amy's
Okay.
been helping to answer some
Yeah.
of them as we've
Okay.
gone.
Oh, here. Let's see. Oh, that's an after.
Okay, screen. Okay, keep going. I don't think we see what you're seeing.
They were trying
these-
hard to tell us.
Do your high schools have different titles for the dual credit courses, and does that cause any confusion? It's a great question. That's a very good question. And yes, they do. Some of them do, but we have actually, in the last 3 years, because of the creation of this tool, whenever Julie and Instructional Services team, we have systematically created a master syllabus tool for all of our dual credit courses that will identify the course as it's identified at the high school and transition that to what it is identified to as on our transcripted credit. So you will see that what's identified on that tool. So there is a little bit of a reconciliation process when those dual credit request forms come in. But that is fixed on the back end. That's a great question. Very good.
Oh, sorry. Oh, but wait. MC career coach still links.
Yes, yeah.
We will be.
We will be, yes, yeah.
We're in the process of integration, so we just researched companies and signed with them about 3 weeks ago. So we're in the implementation phase. At this point, what we have seen is samples of reports and things like that, but they're, I would say within the next 3 weeks, we'll have it integrated into our career pathways tool.
So to answer your question, yes, we will be incorporating MC, absolutely.
Yep.
Scrolling down.
Oh, Amy's.
Okay, keep going. Thanks. Okay,
Oh,
there's a
sorry.
question on there. Are adult education students eligible for Jumpstart? No, they are not. But we do have alternative funding sources for our adult education populations. And in fact, I think everybody on this call, I believe it's never been any easier right now for somebody to attend college from a financial aspect. Now, we know everybody has the additional other barriers such as daycare, employment, a multitude of different areas. But when it comes to financing adult education, the college has additional scholarship opportunities for those to attend. And yes, this is being utilized for our adult ed students. We, at the beginning of the presentation, we have the 17 high schools in the drop-down box, but we also have an adult learner opportunity drop-down selection box for that as well. So it is still the one-stop shop. Now, I do think that we have room to grow here as we continue to expand our bridge programs, specifically in industrial technology. And there's another one out there that I'm missing. In our CNA program, I see that this will obviously morph into more of our opportunities for that as well, but great question.
Amy is taking care of us.
Okay. Sorry if I missed this information. Keep scrolling down.
Oh, have you?
So yes, so is our online job board homegrown or using a particular platform? It is homegrown. And it is a logistical challenge, but this tool helps us because of the logistical challenge. Now that we have Kelsey in her position and we have the IT genius of Jake Frazier here, whenever we get, and we get it a lot, just like you guys are, everybody is looking for work. Everybody's looking for work. So when we field those calls from my office, from Julie's office, from the dean's office, we steer them towards Kelsey. Kelsey then steers the HR manager to provide that information, which then is incorporated into the workforce portion of it. So we're trying to funnel all that information through this tool.
So we're up to date now.
Okay. So very proud of it. Very proud of the work that this group has done. They're an amazing group. And Jacob, I know he's been talking the entire session here.
We can't keep it quiet.
But he has done an amazing job of putting a lot of the thoughts and processes to IT portion of it and making it as user-friendly as possible. And it is our goal to continue to expand this out just so we can help those individuals, whether they are just concerned about how to pay for college with the different opportunity or just concerned about what they need to take to move forward. This thing has been wonderful in just one-on-one conversations outside of college office. If you're at a football game or you meet somebody out in person and they're talking about, well, my son wants to become an accountant. What do I need to do? Or what does he need to take for dual credit? And I'm like, I got something for you. If you got 5 minutes, why don't you download the KC Connect app? He's located. What school is he going to? Oh, okay, great. Let's go ahead and click on this. We'll show you the roadmap here. And this is where I recommend everybody to start. And it has had some very good reviews from some of our guidance counselors. As I said before, last summer was our plan to really unveil this, kind of go on a traveling roadshow. But this little virus called COVID kind of got in the way and really kind of steered us away from those traveling roadshows for now. So realistically, this is one of our first presentations outside of just a few junior highs and our guidance counselors. And what better group to share this with than a group of our peers and to solicit feedback and comments or questions. We do have obviously some testimonials on here from some of our current principals or superintendents utilizing it. We are also able to track this, which is, obviously in the age of data-driven decision-making and assessment. We definitely know which school districts are utilizing it versus which ones have an opportunity for improvement on our end to continue to promote the awareness. But the first schools that we unveiled this to was Salem Community High School, and I want to say Breeze Central. And the heaviest traffic is obviously coming from those two districts, but we're starting to see it creep up from some other areas. Some more chat.
I have something else in the chat, Kelsey.
Well, let me just see. Oh,
Okay.
well, thank you guys.
Okay. Well,
I worked really hard on it.
Mention that.
I didn't.
By the student, how does that work for low-income students?
sure.
Also on the jumpstart, I think they're talking about.
So for Jumpstart, 50% is paid for by the students. Now I don't believe that we have an avenue for that right now for the Jumpstart program for the 50% of the tuition because they do not qualify for financial aid. There are some school districts that may entertain paying for that themselves, but that's on a case-by-case basis. We try to do the best that we can to meet that student need. We do have another program called Casey Now, which Kelsey talked about. That's not a dual credit program. It is a dual enrollment program where students come to us or one of our education centers and take some of our vocational training or some of our arts and sciences or humanities programs. And that is offered at a 50% tuition discount. However, thanks to our foundation 2 years ago, we did approach the foundation to provide funds for those who could not afford to pay for that differential, that 50% differential. And if the superintendent or principal could provide a note or just basically we need some type of documentation that person's on free and reduced lunch or has some type of economic disadvantage, then we cut that tuition in half down to 25% and the foundation funds that. So we're doing the best that we can to try to make this as accessible to everybody. And we really have a really good rock star team down in financial aid that if there is that case-by-case basis where a kid really wants to take this and doesn't have the funds to do it, one way or the other, folks, we're going to find a way to get that kid through this class or that student through this class.
And then tracking individual users, we can, correct?
That's a question for Jake. Can we track individual users?
Is it based
I
on?
don't
my
think so.
address?
It's no, it's just based on the program itself and the location that's the high school's using it.
So we wouldn't be able to see if someone used it and then ended up enrolling at this point in time.
That's correct. And are the Jumpstart classes offered in person or online? That's a great question. We offer both. So we have some very aggressive students. We've had some that have graduated high school and college at the same time. So some of them will definitely take advantage of the Jumpstart opportunity, the dual credit opportunity, and Casey Now, and realistically could have a associate's degree by the time they graduate at minimal expense to them. It is a full load for a student, especially if they're very active with athletics or band or the musicals, but it is definitely possible. But to answer your question, yeah, Jumpstart classes are available in either format.
Yeah, jumpstart classes, students are taking classes that are already on our books, as long as they meet the prerequisites or any placement that's required, but it's a class that's already on the books for us.
And it's not created as a section just for Jumpstart
Yeah.
students. They're incorporated into classrooms with regular students. So typically, after hours or online classes, and they just become a member of the college community separate from if they would be grouped together with high school students in dual credit.
So who is working with the student, high school counselor, or someone at the college? Excellent question. So that's Kelsey. That Kelsey is the point person, but I am also very proud to say that we're very hands-on with our relationships with our high school guidance counselors and superintendents and principals. We host a guidance counselor meeting in the fall and the spring to communicate all of, obviously, there's a lot of logistics behind dual credit. There's a logistic behind placement testing. So we share this guided pathways tool. This has been shared with them already. So when questions come up as far as, next year, if you have a faculty member who's retiring next year that is dual credit qualified at the high school, we need to know ahead of time if that person's going to be replaced with somebody who is qualified to teach dual credit or not. So that's why we really push that dialogue between the institution and those high schools. And it has worked out very, very well. Very, very few instances have we ended up scrambling because of a faculty member who has retired or moved on that's no longer credentialed. So we try to keep that avenue of communication open.
So the high schools are willing to work with.
So the high schools are willing to work with you on the student schedules who want to do jumpstart. Yes, it varies from some high schools are much more supportive than others, and I think that's probably the same for all institutions of higher learning. You have some really aggressive guidance counselors who really want the best for their students, and we have. I know that Amy's still answering chat on here, and Kelsey. Very few people down in our front area, in our admissions area, are not on a first name basis with the high schools. And I'm proud to say too that a lot of our faculty members are on a first name basis with some of the dual credit staff members. Do you have a reverse transfer system with the high schools? I think if I'm interpreting that correctly, will the high schools grant high school credit for the college credit? We do not have anything ironed out specifically on paper. We leave that up to the individual high schools that will grant high school credit for the college courses that are taken here. However, I have not anticipated any barriers for the most part. Majority of the high schools, if provided with a college level transcript, do work with their students to give them high school credit. I hope that answered your question. Do you have any new ideas you are working on to recruit dual credit, dual enrolled students?
We'll be expanding Casey now.
Yeah. You want to talk about that or yeah?
No.
So any of the new ideas on working on recruiting dual credit and dual enrollment students is obviously the biggest barrier that we see is cost and time for our high school student populations. So the biggest barrier that we have to attack is the financing side of it. And our dipping our toe in the water with our KC Now program, being sponsored by our foundation to at least knocking that final 50% in half is our first real attempt to try to fund as much of this as we can through our foundation. Now, I will tell you, I don't know if I burn any bridges here, but I am an advocate that if the federal government would ever allow for Pell Grants to expand down to the high school level for students that are qualified, I would not be opposed to incorporating that into this program as well. So we are always looking to expand our dual enrollment opportunities. And one of the major reasons why is there's such a disparity in our district. Our largest high school has about 1,100 students. Our smallest high school has, I want to say 55, with a senior class of about 18 students. And unfortunately, that small school has very limited dual credit opportunities. just because of their geographic location and their funding. Whereas the college is located 20 miles away from this high school, and we would love to offer them curriculum that they would never be able to offer at their high schools through dual enrollment opportunities. It's very expensive to start a welding lab. It's very expensive to start an automotive technology program. It's very expensive to have your own nursing lab. That's our discussions that are ongoing, that we're dipping our toe in the water now for students to come to us, to the community college during the day, their junior, senior years, as long as they're obviously making strong academic progress and they're signed off by their administrators to take these different programs that we offer, so they can earn some college credit and high school credit at the same time. The biggest barrier, as I mentioned before, is the funding side of it that we're going to continue to tackle.
The other thing that we did see a few of our high schools do this year is implement an 8th hour. And so those high schools that did that have all students in a study hall or a free 8th hour period, I think that we'll continue to see some increased enrollment in our jumpstart during that 8th hour, where students can take some classes online. Again, could be quite common in other parts of the state, but it's a little bit newer concept down here where they have a dedicated 8th hour period that's just student study hall, if you will. And that's kind of the initiative behind a couple of our schools implementing that, is because they wanted students in their high school who don't have lots of dual credit opportunities to have some dedicated time to enroll in some additional classes through Jumpstart. So some online classes, they can sit there at the high school in the computer lab with good Wi-Fi, complete their class because it's dedicated time, and earn college credit for it. So that was, that's just something newer that our high schools are taking the initiative on down here to help the kids out.
Well, I know we're getting close on time, but this is one of those presentations that we would much rather do in person, because you could see our glowing personalities and just see how much Jacob wants to talk to everybody.
I think he wants to say something. What would you like to say?
But here's obviously, can everybody see our screen? This is our contact information. We're very proud of this. Jacob obviously can talk through the nuts and bolts of the IT side, but Kelsey, Julie, and Amy, I think Amy's still on here. We are be glad to share any type of tips with you, but also we welcome suggestions on how to make this tool stronger as well, because we have a lot of work to do in front of us. Where we're at now is not where we want to be a year from now. We really want to see that workforce portion expanded when we incorporate the EMZ information, but also we really want to get the word out with our employers to utilize this tool, because this has unlimited opportunity to get in the hands of any individual, whether you're a student at KC or not. You just basically can screen through this through our mobile app. So it's just another tool we want to get out to our district. Obviously, we're happy that people are steering this way towards the college, but you really have to have no other contact with the institution whatsoever, other than wanting to put your workforce information and labor needs on this site to attract your current and future talent. So any other final questions for anybody? Yeah. Thank you all for the compliments very much. And it's this team, it's this group that put it together, and very, very humbled to work with such a great group to put something to paper, and very proud of all of them. But as I said, hands off Jake Frazier and Kelsey and Amy and Julie. Nobody can have them. They're staying here because they're awesome and we need them. But this has been, it's been a lifelong passion of ours to really try to connect everybody together. And I hope that it can be beneficial for you, and would love to spread the word. Thank you all.
Great. Thank you so much to the whole Kaskaskia team. On behalf of the Illinois Center for Specialized Professional Support and the Illinois Community College Board and the Forum for Excellence and everyone involved with the forum, I think we can all agree that this session was definitely needed and a great conversation to have regarding this new tool. So hopefully we all learned something today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again really quickly as I close us out in the last 5 minutes. First, I wanted to thank everyone for their participation and their engagement today, all the questions. I think we had a very robust discussion with all of the questions and the answers from the Kaskaskia team. And also, I wanted to remind everyone that you can go ahead and rate this session in the feedback form. You just simply go to the session where you clicked to enter on the Whova app, and you can click rate session right here. Just a reminder to go ahead and do that. And then I also wanted to put a plug in for our Forum for Excellence social media. We are doing some giveaways with some Amazon gift cards, so participate to enter in those. We have some engagement opportunities as well as some updates for all things forum and things even after the forum. So go ahead and follow our Facebook, the Adult Ed PDN Professional Development Network Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, as well as our Center ICSPS's Facebook and Twitter. And if you do tweet or Facebook post about anything regarding the forum over the next 2 days, be sure to use our hashtags right here below as well. And then a quick thank you to our exhibitors. I know our exhibitors have some great content for you guys. So in your downtime in between sessions, hopefully you've already checked them out, but if you haven't, maybe tomorrow you will. Be sure to check out the exhibitors in the exhibitor center over here on the left-hand side of the forum Whova app. And with that, I'm going to close this out. Thank you so much for attending today. We are looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. We have our first general session tomorrow at 8 a.m. So we will see you tomorrow morning. Thank you, everyone.